On January 5th, 2002, a 15-year-old flight student named Charles Bishop purposely crashed a Cessna 172 airplane into the 28th floor of the Bank of America Plaza building in Tampa, Florida, evoking memories of the still recent September 11th attacks. But what led this seemingly bright and talented young man to take such a deadly and drastic action? Charles J. Bishop was born in 1986 in the small town of Norwell, Massachusetts, to his mother Julia Bishop. While much of his early life remains shrouded in mystery, reports suggest that he faced a difficult childhood due to family problems and frequent relocations across the country. Eventually, he and his family would settle in Palm Harbor, Florida, an unincorporated community 22 miles west of Tampa. However, despite these domestic troubles, Bishop would excel academically, being described by teachers as a straight A student and even being on his high school's honor roll. Charles also had a clear passion for aviation and flight, having aspirations to become a pilot, even taking monthly flight lessons. By all accounts, Charles seemed to be no different from his peers and seemed to have a promising future ahead of him. However, this would soon take a dark turn. On Saturday, January 5th, 2002, Charles's grandmother would drop him off at the private plane section of the St. Petersburg Clearwater International Airport for his monthly flight lessons. Prior to this, Charles had been taking flight lessons since March of 2001 and had logged in about 6 hours of total flight time. The lesson was supposed to last 2 hours beginning at 5 p.m., but since Charles had shown up early, the 15-year-old student pilot was instructed by his flight instructor to pre-flight the Cecilia 172 airplane and then wait for the instructor before beginning the training flight. However, Charles had other plans in mind. Witnesses stated that the student pilot proceeded to the airplane, removed the wing tie-downs, boarded the airplane, started the engine, and immediately taxied to runway 35R without the flight instructor. At 4:50 p.m., the student pilot then took off from the runway without communicating with the airport air traffic control tower, with the tower controllers stating that the airplane turned to the right and headed southeast immediately after takeoff. No transponder signal was received from the airplane, and the towers notified Tampa ATC approach controllers, as well as the pilots of a Coast Guard helicopter that was flying in the local area. Additionally, the controllers made numerous attempts to contact the pilot by emergency radio frequency, but were unsuccessful. Bishop's plane proceeded to the McAdale Air Force Base and overflew the base control tower, 2 aircraft, and 3 hangars at a low altitude. The airplane was then observed to alter its direction toward the 42-story Bank of America Plaza building in Tampa. While en route to the building, the Coast Guard helicopter pilots intercepted Bishop's airplane and attempted to signal the pilot to land. According to the helicopter pilots, Bishop saw their hand gestures and gestured back to them. However, the Coast Guard pilots could not determine the kind and meaning of the gestures exhibited. Shortly thereafter, at around 5:15 p.m., Charles's one-engine Cecilia 172 impacted the Bank of America Plaza building at the 28th floor level, killing him instantly.
It was a scary sight for those who witnessed it. Scott Murphy says the low-flying plane caught his eye.
I was looking on the other side to see if it was going to pass by the building, and then I looked back and then saw it hit it. It heard pop, no explosions, no nothing.
Officials say the plane, with a 15-year-old at the controls, crashed into the 28th floor of the Bank of America building. Both wings broke off and fell to the ground below. Luckily, no one was injured on the ground, but there were people inside the building on the upper floors.
The word started passing. I guess somebody got news from the outside that a plane hit a building or something to do with a plane, and we needed to evacuate. So we took the stairs all the way down, 42 flights.
The FAA, FBI, and FDLE are all on scene, and dozens of onlookers and city officials who first feared a terrorist attack.
You think the worst when you hear that. I mean, when your plane crashes into the building today, oh my God, you know, that's never happened here. And I was all very thankful to see a small plane sticking out of a window when I got here, to tell you the truth.
Rescue crews doused the plane in water and fire-retardant foam to keep it from igniting. But the concern is that the tail section may break off before they can secure the plane.
Fortunately, due to the size of the plane, no one else was killed or injured in the crash, and miniature damage was done to the actual building. An examination of the airframe, systems, and engine did not reveal any evidence of pre-impact mechanical malfunction, and no indications of alcohol or drugs were found in the specimens taken from the student pilot. An investigation followed the incident, with officials ruling out terrorism being a motive, although eyewitnesses stated that the plane made no apparent attempt to avoid hitting the building. The crash was ultimately determined to be an apparent suicide, with a 2-page note written by Bishop found among the wreckage. The note stated his support for infamous Islamic extremist Osama bin Laden, crediting him for the September 11th attacks and praising it as a justified response to the actions against the Palestinians and Iraqis, also stating that he was acting on behalf of Islamic terror group Al-Qaeda, from whom he had turned down help. However, there is no evidence that the teen had any connection to any terror group. I've prepared this statement in regards to the acts I'm about to commit. First of all, Osama bin Laden is absolutely justified in the terror he caused on 9/11. He has brought a mighty nation to its knees. God bless him and others who helped make September 11th happen. The US will have to face its consequences for its horrific actions against the Palestinian people and Iraqis by its allegiance with the monstrous Israelis, who want nothing short of world domination. You will pay, God help you, and I will make you pay. There will be more coming. Al-Qaeda and other organizations met with me several times to discuss the option of me joining. I didn't. This is an operation done by me. I had no other help, although I am acting on their behalf. However, this note will leave more questions than answers, as Bishop's school peers and teachers had reported that he was actually very pro-American, patriotic, and devoted to the United States. A former teacher of Charles stated that her class discussed the attacks of September 11th and that they sat in Charles. Quote, he told me he wanted to join the US Air Force because he wanted to do something good for his country. Unquote. There was never any indication that the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden, or Al-Qaeda would cause any strong change in Charles' patriotic feelings. His family also stated that they couldn't provide any evidence that he was supporting terrorist groups, Osama bin Laden, or any violent activities. His family released the following statement. The family of Charles Bishop is appalled and devastated over the incident on Saturday, January 5th. We had absolutely no prior indication that this might occur. We are exceedingly grateful that no one was injured. Charles and his family have always fully supported our United States war on terrorism and Osama bin Laden. We do not understand how this incident happened. We will always remember Charles as a loving and giving person, a hardworking and responsible honor roll student, and a boy who cared deeply about his country. We hope that something positive can come out of our tragic loss. 3 months after the incident, Charles's mother and grandmother would file a $70 million lawsuit against the company of Roche Laboratories, which make an acne medicine called Accutane. The family of Charles stated that he had never shown any signs of depression before he started taking Accutane. The lawsuit alleged that the medication had side effects that included depression and suicidal behavior, which were identified as the reason behind the incident. However, the suit was dropped 5 years later on June 26, 2007 by Bishop's mother, who stated she was, quote, physically and emotionally unable to continue the action, unquote. Following the attack, the Federal Aviation Administration issued official guidelines to enhance flight school security. These recommendations comprise utilizing a distinct ignition key, instructing employees to be vigilant of suspicious activities, requiring underage students to have their parents sign their enrollment applications, and more. The implementation of these stronger security measures is anticipated to thwart the unauthorized use of aircraft and prevent similar unexpected and bizarre attacks in the future.